When Megan and I first joined Heritage, we came into a new city and a new church and joined this big church, and we found ourselves connected in a really great DC, but it was a small section of this bigger church. And being able to go to men's conference allowed me to build relationships with this greater brotherhood in the men of Heritage that was just a situation that wasn't available to me in really any other capacity than being able to go and separate from the rest of my experiences, separate from work and kind of remove myself from my day-to-day activities and be able to just be there with these men and establish these connections. And I feel like over the last year that a lot of that's been stripped away with social distancing, with virtual experiences. And so what's really pushing me to go to this year's men's conference is to be able to reestablish some of that.
It's interesting you say that, because when I look back at the conferences that I've been to, I feel like one theme that I've seen is that I've built this sense of camaraderie. It's unlike any other way I've built it, because I'm with only other men at a different location. I'm not at my home, I'm somewhere else. So the distractions that come, they're all not there. So when I think back, I've built relationships with men that today, 3 of my best friends, I've built those relationships and developed them at these previous men's conferences. Even career choices have been influenced by the attendance I've had at these men's conferences. Another thing that I feel like is huge for men, for us, is that we get a chance by going to this men's conference to get some time to just reflect on our lives. We don't get that. I don't get that with 3 kids in the house and everything that's going on. So when I go to the Cove, I know that I'm going to have some time to think about how I'm doing as a dad, as a husband, have some time to pray and ask the Lord to help me do better and just to improve my leadership in the home. So something I'm looking forward to.
And I'm glad you bring all that up. I actually remember you telling me almost a decade ago about how some of your career path was influenced by the men's conference, which I think is really cool and really exciting. You know, for me, I've been to the Cove now the last 2 conferences, and I mean, it's spectacular, right? Like, great place to be, love being outdoors, love to run, right? Hike up the mountain. Food's awesome, but apart from all that, I think to me the most meaningful thing is the interactions that I get to have with Christ, right? That to talk about the reflection aspect. I mean, even 6 years ago, I was in a pretty dark spot, and it's a very challenging spot for my marriage, especially. So to be able to come face to face with Christ and realize the grace that comes with that, but then the life change that comes with that, has impacted me greatly, right? And our theme this year is to recalibrate, right? It's an opportunity for us to reflect and to reset and to re-engage. And Dave, I think you have a really good story kind of about recalibrating.
Yeah, so you guys know that I'm a pilot, and during part of my flight training experience, I was on this night flight with my instructor, and he wanted to do this phase of training that was unusual attitudes. So he had me close my eyes, and he took control of the airplane, and he took it in turns and banks and climbs and descents and really tried to throw off my equilibrium. And what I didn't know was that during that, while my eyes were down and he was in control of the airplane, he also spun the directional gyro, the really? Compass that I was gonna follow. And so then he said, okay, it's your airplane. And I grabbed a hold of the controls and I stabilized the aircraft, but I didn't go back to check my directional gyro, my compass. And I spent the next 20 or 30 minutes turning in circles because he had done it right over a 90-degree intersection of highways, and he had spun it 90 degrees. So I thought exactly where I was gonna go was the right place, and I was 90 degrees off. And until the point that I reset that directional gyro and was able to gather my bearings over what reality was around me, it was until that point that I was not gonna arrive at my destination. It was an experience that really taught me that setting the compass on reality is imperative to be able to arrive at the destination that you want to arrive at. And so as we think about our men's conference, we want to reflect, and we want to reset, and we want to re-engage with our culture around us by getting out to the Cove with the men of Heritage Baptist Church and recalibrating on the Word of God.